on her vacation spots when she was a kid growing up, what it was like. So yeah, I mean, you got to see some territory that a lot of us will never see.
Yeah.
What a
I knew you were on the petition. I would have said, how about I go for my run earlier? And then we could have just chatted over there.
Okay.
I just got done doing a 5K. I was gonna do 4, but then I don't want to do reconciliations. Are we good?
Mhm.
Yeah, all right. I'd like to call to order the Monroe County Plat Committee meeting, Thursday, October 17th, 2024. I guess I could let you call the roll.
Yeah, I'll call the roll. Jeff Morris,
Here.
Tron and Wright Randolph,
Here,
and Edward Bowman, not here yet,
and
but maybe.
we will
Keep an eye
announce his presence when he's here. There's no members online, so we can do a voice vote. I will also just indicate, I'm not sure how many folks are online, that these are plat committee decisions, so we will do public comment and bring it back to the plat committee for a final decision. With that said, I will read off case number SMN 23 8. And Sean, if you'd like to go
Sure.
ahead and take it away.
So this is a 2-lot minor subdivision with a partial plat vacation. So this entire parcel as it is currently is in the Cottonwood Estate Administrative Subdivision Type E, and it's known as Tract 2. So there will be a vacation from that subdivision, and then the final result will be a 2-lot minor subdivision. This is located in the conservation residential zone. So that is a minimum lot size of 2.5 acres. There's no sewer here, so the 10-acre lot size rule comes into play. No issues there. They fully exceed the acreage requirement. I believe both parcels are proposed to be over 20 acres each. Yes, so no issues there. It does meet the Eco Area 3 requirements, so that also requires a residential density of 2.5 acres each. Obviously exceeds that. I'm gonna go through here. Let me just scroll down here. Nothing too major of concern here, but there is a drainage easement, was delineated on the plat. There are a couple of karst conservancy areas, as we're calling them now. But again, no issue in regards to buildable area. There's a significant portion of buildable area on these lots. So nothing really striking any sort of like concerns or anything like that with these lots. These are just some photos that I took here from Google. So one of the lots, what's proposed to be lot 1, does have an existing dwelling on the property. I'm not sure what the state of that residence is. I don't know if it's currently habitable or not, but in any case, the second lot would be vacant. They do have approved septic permits. They do have approved right-of-way permits. That's just pending approval from the plat committee for this subdivision. They do not have any waiver requests, so they do meet all of those requirements. They are not required to bury utilities here because there are power lines that are running through the property that service other properties, so they are exempt from that requirement.
For the existing ones,
Yes,
future ones will.
yes. But other than that, are there any specific questions that the plat committee had on this petition?
I'll just make one note that Edward, I accidentally said Edwin, and Tammy was not allowed. So, Oldman had, joined us at 4:04, and that was basically at the very beginning of this petition. I'll also just mention that this is a plat committee decision, and, we'll go to the public if there's anyone to speak to it when it's ideal, so. I don't have any questions. There was 2 things that were approval. What was the second one? I just wanted to.
It was the partial plat vacation for track two
Okay, that's what it was.
from the Cottonwood Estate type E.
It's pretty straightforward. I mean, we go to the petitioner then, petitioner.
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
Anything you would like to add?
No comments.
No? I guess we'll go to the public. I'm not online. There's no one here. We could.
Got Paul Satterley.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say we should call, but. we don't have to do
He's
that.
somebody.
I can make a motion if we're there.
Yeah, we'll bring it back.
Okay. For case SMN 23 8, I move that we approve the preliminary plat based on the finding that the proposed preliminary plat meets the subdivision control ordinance subject to the highway engineer and MS4 coordinator reports. And also approve the partial plat vacation for track 2 from the Cottonwood Estates Type E administrative subdivision with one condition that the petitioner correct the plat vacation signature block on page 2 of the preliminary plat.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the preliminary plat for the Enjoy Acres Range subdivision and also the partial plat vacation. And this is with conditions stated in the staff report. Wait. this one does
Regarding-
Not have,
Regarding the signature.
it does have that regarding the signature. Yes, okay. My favorite is vote to approve. Ron and Wright Randall,
Yes.
Jeff Morris,
Yes.
and Edward Ullman.
Yes.
The motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, what, any understanding of why that wasn't straight lined and when it was originally formatted?
I do not know why it was not a straight line. And usually it has to do with when you go looking at these deeds and how these deeds come out of the parent parcel, you know, they was probably piecemealed out over the years. And it just so happens that these were just a tad bit shorter than what these were measuring off of the road
So
from the
you,
west.
yeah, okay. I'm always, those little
Jones,
hiccups always bother me.
yeah,
Cause
Yeah.
I get sometimes when they're like on county lines or on
Mhm.
like section lines, because it's like, you know, you gotta
township line could be an adjustment point.
adjustment, but
Yeah.
with it being out in the middle of nowhere, they always bother me.
Well, well, I like straight lines myself, you know.
Yeah.
But, I'm just kind of partial to that, but no, a lot of times it's kind of like this, you're basically putting a large jigsaw puzzle together.
Yeah.
And, you know, these jigsaw puzzle pieces don't always fit together just perfectly, is what you run into.
You did a great puzzle job.
Very poetic. I've been,
He read it off the back of a surveyor's t-shirt one day.
well, awesome. We can move forward. And I'll be spending a few extra moments, to entertain questions like that, so I appreciate, entertaining that, Eric, and
Not a problem, anytime you get questions on stuff like that, be glad to answer.
You here for round two as well?
Report, so.
Nope.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Hey, man, thanks, guys.
Great to see you.
Appreciate you.
So yeah, we'll move on to the second item of business, SMN 24 7. That's yours again, so.
Yeah. So this one is otherwise pretty straightforward, other than the fact that they are proposing a 3-lot minor subdivision, and this is going to be where 2 lots are considered to be unbuildable. So because they are being proposed to be unbuildable, they do not need septic permits for those. So they don't necessarily need to put in the infrastructure for those parcels, aside from having approved driveway locations just to access the property should it need be. They did obtain those. And those are also listed in the staff report. Go down here. If the lots were to be developed in the future, they would at least exceed the requirements for buildable area. However, if they wanted to undo this unbuildable label of the tracks, then they would have to do a preliminary plat amendment and then go through this process again to have them be buildable and also put in the necessary infrastructure in order to enable them to be built. The property owner states that it will just be used for farming practices. which they are able to do, even if it's considered to be unbuildable. No necessarily notable concerns with the property, noted, other than there are some karst features on the property. The MS4 coordinator did, have them label those on the plat. And also put in a drainage easement just to, further protect the area in the future, should it ever be developed. One thing to note about the existing lot is that there is an existing residence on the property that is also mentioned in the Indiana Shard database. So that's the historical sites and structures inventory. And it does list the existing residence as outstanding. So it is a historical structure. The owner has no proposal to remove it or anything of such. And I think that pretty much covers it, because they're not developing the property itself, the two lots. So it's really just for official records to have these parceled off from each other. Does anybody have any questions about it?
Yeah, I'm curious why they're dividing it, but that's not gonna impact my decision.
Yeah, not totally 100% on that. I don't know if the petitioner or his surveyor's online. He could elaborate on that. But yeah, I think it initially started off as maybe tax related purposes, but my understanding is that it would not impact their taxes, so I don't know.
It may be for ownership, maybe the farm and the home site kind of separate.
Maybe.
The farm under the farm LLC kind of awesome concept.
Right, I mean, there's a fair amount of ways we could.
And the
Or
owner,
speculate, but also, I mean, they have a process to come back and make them buildable, so then they might, just be putting in place, putting measures in place.
in the
Wouldn't want to
owner's,
speculate, but I guess my point being is it does separate them into different lots. They do have a process to come back if they do want to do things on them. Not guaranteed maybe, but
yeah.
sorry, Sean, you were wanting.
No,
to
it's okay.
mention
And
something.
I was just gonna, also say, like, the owner is aware of that. He understands it. We did have them go ahead and just identify an additional area on lot number 1, which is the buildable tract. Just an additional septic location should the existing one fail, at any future point. And they did go ahead and get that septic permit from the health department, and it was approved.
Okay, that's the proposed one, right? Okay.
Yes.
And the existing.
Yeah.
The process to make these lots, this just for my own sake, again, not affecting, similar to, similar comments, not affecting my view on the petition, but if the process to go to remove unbuildable and make it a buildable lot, does that also go through plat, or does that have to go to land commission?
I think that's a great question. If you want to kind of walk us step by step, I think that would be a great opportunity. If you can.
If they wanted to convert it to buildable
Yeah.
areas. I think they would refile this as a preliminary plat amendment.
Oh.
And they would submit the septic systems, and it would come through the plat committee again.
So it would once again be just an approval by the plat committee, it wouldn't have to go to,
I don't think our ordinance is changing that process at all
Okay.
at this time.
no, that's my preference.
Mhm.
My concern is that it come, 10 years down the line, I don't know where we might be in terms of our concerns, the areas and things like that, but if this was to come back around and somebody say, well, look, we're looking at 49 acres of land that is unbuildable and we need to keep it in conservation, whatever, I don't know, who knows? We can't predict the future.
Mhm. I mean, it can't be a staff, it's not gonna be administrative,
Right.
but it does
Mhm.
need to have some oversight. But I think
But it could-
because there's no waiver that's gonna be necessary.
Yeah, one other thing I think would be helpful is if you kind of spoke to the appeal process. So as the plat committee, we can make a recommendation, but there's also an appeal process, so, and I don't want to speculate too much, so I'll ask, it's like, if they come and it seems like a reasonable idea and, they end up kind of with a whole different plat committee that may not support that recommendation, and let's say today we do support it, but the next plat committee wouldn't, there's also an appeal process. And would you speak to
I
that?
think the appeal process would go to the plan commission.
Right.
So if they got
Mhm.
a denial here for whatever reason, it goes to the plan commission.
Gotcha.
So there is some recourse to that, but
Yeah.
I figured that would be
Yeah.
helpful to add on.
Just kind of helping learn the rules of the game. Can't play the game if you don't know the rules.
Well, I always enjoy your questions. With that, is there any other questions to this? Okay, then we'd open up to the public, knowing that there's no one online, no one here. We're back at the plat committee. We could entertain a motion.
Okay, for case SMN 24-7, I move that we approve the subdivision preliminary plat based on the finding that the proposed preliminary plat meets the subdivision control ordinance, subject to the highway department and MS4 coordinator reports, and approve the utility waiver based on findings of fact as there are practical difficulties to varying utilities across a drainage easement.
Second,
A motion and a second to approve the Levi Farms minor subdivision preliminary plat and the buried utility waiver. Vote in favor is a vote to approve. Edward Ullman,
yes.
Sean Enright Randolph,
Yes.
and Jeff Morris.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay. I will ask if there's any other business from members, planning commission. Seeing none. If I shut up and move to adjournment, we might get the fastest one of the year. So I guess we're to adjournment.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
I was laughing because
Thanks, Sean.
it's